British Columbia's Sunshine Coast. It's a world-famous collection of islands, inlets, and communities, tracing the eastern perimeter of Georgia Strait. Towering forests.
The Sunshine Coast is blessed with having some of the finest tree-growing land in Canada.
Unique marine species.
They look quite prehistoric, a couple 100 million years old.
And incredible subsea treasures.
In a world of shrinking resources, we're bringing this one back to life.
Now, we reveal the coastlines like never before, unlocking the secrets of our maritime past, present, and future. Canada, over the edge. North of the city of Vancouver lies the tiny community of Horseshoe Bay. It is home to roughly 1,000 people, marking the end of the mainland stretch of British Columbia's Highway 1. From here, travelers head to sea. Horseshoe Bay is one of 5 major ferry terminals in the province. More than 5 million vehicles and 7 million passengers pass through here each year. The largest ferries head to Nanaimo on Vancouver Island and Langdale to the northwest. The vessels are massive, measuring 139 meters, carrying nearly 1,500 passengers. Smaller vessels, like the Queen of Capilano, carry just a few hundred island hoppers to nearby Snug Cove. Offshore, the islands of Howe Sound lie in the distance. Bowen Island is one of 4 major islands here. It is situated near the mouth of the sound. From the summit of Mount Gardner, dense forests cover much of Bowen Island's 50 square kilometers. Further north, the waters of Howe Sound are a bustling waterway. Pleasure craft frequent these sheltered waters. Workboats transporting hundreds of logs are a unique sight here. Next, Gambier Island is the largest island in Howe Sound. It is 69 square kilometers of remote, rugged coast. The island is home to just over 100 people, with no paved roads and no businesses. Gambier Island also offers one unique attraction, tucked into the sheltered waters of Port Graves Bay. This is HMCS Annapolis, commissioned by the Royal Canadian Navy in 1964. It enjoyed a storied career, carrying the first tow-to-ray sonar system and the first mixed-gender crew in Canadian naval history. HMCS Annapolis was decommissioned in 1996. Today, the vessel sits, waiting to be sunk as an artificial reef, another attraction for divers on a coastline already famous for wrecks. British Columbia's mainland coast is a rich, unique landscape. One kilometer west of Gambier Island, the community of Langdale is identified by its ferry terminal and known as the gateway to what many consider British Columbia's best-kept secret. The Sunshine Coast. The Sunshine Coast measures 177 kilometers of winding shoreline, set between the coast mountains and the sea. It is a collection of bays, inlets, and interconnected lakes, stretching northwest from Howe Sound to Desolation Sound. It is part of the British Columbia mainland, but isolated from the rest of the world. Boats and float planes offer the only access here. All along the Sunshine Coast, spectacular nature is interspersed with iconic communities. This is the town of Gibsons. It is enshrined forever as the setting for the iconic Canadian television series, The Beachcombers. But Gibsons also holds a real-life reputation. the recipient of numerous acclaims, from best tasting water in the world to the world's most livable community. The region is popular for retirees and those seeking a more active lifestyle. Residents and visitors are attracted by water, kayaking, boating, and a more recent phenomenon, paddle surfing. The Sunshine Coast is also an industrial hotbed. Many communities are built around the natural resources sector. There are more than 1.5 million hectares of forest here. With 15 species of trees harvested commercially. Far below, the Howe Sound Pulp and Paper Company is part of that industry. Millions of tons of wood chips are brought here by barge each year. A byproduct of the logging and sawmill industry. The chips are steamed, then ground into pulp, using 19,000 horsepower grinders, twice the horsepower of a jet engine. Finally, they are made into paper, or newsprint, more than 1,000 meters per minute. Howe Sound's mill produces enough annual newsprint to circle the Earth 12 times. Inland, another unique feature of BC's natural resources industry lies below. Community forests were established in the 1990s, a new approach to balancing industry, community, and ecology.
We're in Sechelt, British Columbia. It's on the lower south coast in the southwest corner of BC. The Sunshine Coast is blessed with having some of the finest tree-growing land in Canada. The combination of soils, mild winters, long growing seasons. When you look back on the harvesting of timber in the coast of BC, from an industrial point of view, it began in the late 1800s, and back in the day, it was done to the standards, but there weren't very many standards, and by today's standards, it just simply wouldn't be acceptable what they did then. But over the decades, things have improved.
The Sunshine Coast Community Forest is a mix of old growth and second growth trees. Some are harvested commercially, while others are not.
This Douglas fir that I'm standing beside is quite a typical Douglas fir for a tree that's probably in the order of 70 to 80 years old. It'll probably be in the order of 150 feet tall. Very typical of the type of trees in this stand that we're standing in, but also with the great growing sites that we have to grow trees here on the Sunshine Coast. This tree right behind me is an old-growth Douglas fir, magnificent specimen of a Douglas fir. It would be in the order of 500 plus years old, perhaps 800 years old. It's about 8 to 10 feet across in diameter, and we would leave the old growth standing. We wouldn't be harvesting trees like this one behind me. We would leave them standing in perpetuity. Community forest basically is any forest that is managed or owned by a community or to, with much more community direct input and more appreciation for community values. Here in BC, it was in the late 1990s that they really brought forward the community forest tenure system. In terms of what we're trying to accomplish, we are running a business. Community forest is a business, and I think starting this year, I think our economic return back to the District of Sechelt will improve and at the same time increase in dollar value.
There is also a community aspect to the community forest, with broad consideration given to public use for these lands.
Aside from the economic, we also do consider and take into consideration a wide variety of feedback from the community. It can be any one of a number of values, whether it's recreation, or whether it's promoting ecotourism, whether it's promoting any one of a number of things. But the three most important, we're trying to consider economic and social and ecological values and balance those three. There's literally hundreds of kilometers of trails on the coast here. This particular stand that we're standing in here now, Big Tree, is a set-aside recreation site by the Ministry of Forests. A very popular site, easy trail access. You can drive relatively close and then walk in on the trails to enjoy being in a forest as magnificent as this one. And I suspect there will be more of these kind of sites in the future. There's a very strong mandate within the community forest to try and develop more recreational values and provide more economic benefits from the community forest, not just from timber harvesting, but through other initiatives as well, be it ecotourism or other types of outdoor recreation that would bring tourism to the Sunshine Coast.
British Columbia's Sunshine Coast is a remote coastal gem. The region has been a home to First Nations for thousands of years. Today, it is a year-round residence for many. For others, a cherished summertime retreat. Just kilometers from the Sunshine Coast Community Forest, the community of Sechelt lies ahead. It is built on a narrow 1.2-kilometer isthmus, dividing Sechelt Inlet from Georgia Strait. The name Sechelt comes from the coastal Salish language, translated land between two waters. The region was later settled by Europeans in the 1860s. By the 1880s, it was established as a logging and fishing community. It is a legacy that continues today on Sechelt Inlet. Justin Henry is general manager for the world's first Fraser River white sturgeon caviar production facility.
Right now we're on the shores of Seashelt Inlet on the Sunshine Coast in British Columbia. Caviar is made from the eggs of sturgeon mixed with a small amount of salt. And that creates caviar. We're growing the Fraser River white sturgeon. So far, the only ones in the world to do that.
Using fresh, cold water from the surrounding hills, Henry and his team grow mature sturgeon from eggs.
The start of the process is really with a mature fish, where we'll take a female and spawn that fish together with a couple of males. We'll do a cesarean and remove the eggs, and then we'll fertilize those eggs and incubate them in jars. This is the incubation building, and due to biosecurity restrictions, we won't all go in there, but I'll go in, I'll get some fish and bring them out so that we can take a look at how big they are and what they look like at this stage.
After just 6 days in the dark confines of the incubation building, the fertilized eggs hatch.
These are the white sturgeon. They're a few weeks of age. You can see that there are different sizes of fish in the jar. These are all coming from one tank. The fish grow quite rapidly at this stage, where they are doubling in size every week or so. We'll grow them till they're about 5 grams in that building and then move them out to larger tanks.
It is a complex but environmentally conscious operation, just meters from Seashelt Inlet.
These are the filters for an outdoor recirc system. So water's coming through here through a drum filter. We're taking out the solid waste, which goes to be mixed with wood chips to make compost. Then the water's pumped through this biological filter where we grow bacteria. They consume the ammonia, and then the water just gravity feeds back to the tanks. So we have about 99% recirculation on these tanks here. We can take a look at these fish. They're 1 year older than the ones that we just saw.
The sturgeon grow for 3 to 4 years. Once the sex of the sturgeon is determined, males are sold for food, while females continue to grow.
White sturgeon is native to the west coast of North America. It's the largest freshwater fish in North America. The white sturgeon gets up to 1,600 pounds in the wild, so it's an enormous fish. You can see the scutes on the outside of the fish. They're little bony plates on the outside. Internally, the sturgeon have no bone, but externally they have some bony plates. The fish are a couple 100 million years old, so they look quite prehistoric, and in fact they are. They were here since the beginning of the dinosaurs.
When the fish are fully grown, the caviar is extracted in a carefully monitored sterile operations room.
This is the caviar room. When the caviar is removed from the female, it comes through an opening in the wall into this room, and we process just one fish at a time. It's a very simple process, yet it takes a lot of expertise to do it just right. So this is the final product. After so many years of work, we finally have a great product at the end of it. We've had tremendous feedback on our caviar. It's been very positive. Some of the top chefs have tried it and just love the product. And it was rated as one of the top 5 sustainable caviars in the world. We've just started on the caviar scene. It takes such a long time to grow the fish. The fish that we're about to harvest this year are 12 years old. So it's been a long time building the business, and we've just really made it to the starting gate in terms of the caviar.
Heading offshore, the islands of Georgia Strait are a remote wonder. This is Texada Island. It is 50 kilometers long, the largest island in the strait. It is sparsely populated, with long stretches of barren coastline. Texada's history is rooted in natural resources. First with the discovery of gold in the 1800s, then copper and iron. It was later a fishing outpost, a center for whaling operations long ago. Today, Texada Island is considered to hold one of the most significant mineral reserves in Canada. More than 4,000 acres on the island are devoted to limestone quarries. It is the second largest operation of its kind in Canada. Up to 7.3 million tons of limestone are extracted annually. The limestone is blasted, crushed, and shipped around the world from Texada's deep water loading facility. Some say there is enough limestone here to continue operations for more than 200 years. The Sunshine Coast is a formidable stretch of marine perimeter, featuring rolling hills, inlets, and jagged shorelines. 5 kilometers east of Texada Island, spectacular waterways lie below. This is Lois Lake. It is 14 kilometers long and 141 meters deep. While it is called a lake, it is actually a reservoir, formed with the construction of a hydroelectric dam decades ago. It flooded nearly 2,500 hectares. Today, water is forced through gates in the dam, spinning a massive turbine and producing 34.7 megawatts of energy. But the most unique aspect of Lois Lake is found underwater. Flooding here has left thousands of trees perfectly preserved. Now a new brand of forestry is being revealed, harvesting these submerged forests. It is a phenomenon that exists near hydroelectric dams all over the world.
Presently, there are 60,000 hydroelectric projects that have flooded some volume of forest worldwide. Almost always, these trees have been left. The next challenge to any harvesting operation for us or remediation project is to then look at the asset and figure out the right way to go about doing it. And like a lot of forestry, like a lot of land-based forestry, you begin with a lot of planning about how you approach cutting those trees down and bringing them to the surface and turning them into useful wood products.
The deep waters of Lois Lake became a testing ground for Peter Keyes and his team. They patented their own unmanned underwater harvesting system. They call it the Sawfish.
Well, Sawfish is where this technology began for our company. So it's an ROV, remote operated vehicle, that can go to virtually any depth. This is a tethered piece of equipment that starts on a barge, and a pilot actually flies the ROV, the Sawfish, down to the depth, finds the tree, inject airbags into it, cut the tree floats to the surface, and it's collected. While that ROV is on the bottom of the lake, it then moves over 2 meters, 5 meters, wherever, finds the next tree and cuts it. And that's, I think, the special trick is its ability to harvest a tree every 2-3 minutes. The tree is perfectly preserved. In a freshwater, low oxygen environment, without bugs to attack it, a tree, either a softwood or a hardwood tree, will last indefinitely.
In recent years, the team has explored reservoirs with much shallower waters, using an even newer subsea tree harvester. They call it the Shark.
The concept came from the engineering and operations group within the group, and they formed from that ground up this concept of developing technology that would be an efficient harvester of a shallow lake reservoir, and that was born the Shark. The Shark is an amazing piece of equipment for us. It's a combination of forestry and marine technology that we've harvested together in efforts to be an effective and efficient harvester of the resource, going down to a depth of about 25-27 meters.
This new technology took them to Ghana and the tree-infested waters of Lake Volta.
Lake Volta is the largest man-made reservoir in the world, approximately 850,000 hectares. So with a really very strong relationship with the government, we began a process of securing a concession that is 350,000 hectares. We've been cutting trees since the middle of 2011. We've put a sawmill in and converting the round logs into lumber products starting in September of 2011, and that's our business. We believe fundamentally that we're talking about a reclaimed resource that until we bring it up is worth nothing. We think a reclaimed resource is an amazing story. We don't think there's anything better than a reclaimed resource. And we convert that to make into a variety of wood products, lumber products, and it's remarkably well received. There really is. There's an inexhaustible supply of resources around the world, of reservoirs around the world that have been treed, and almost never have those trees been cut down. So our business, and when we talk about sustainability, is that, you know, after we clear these trees out of a reservoir, it's gone. However, the sustainability issue is there's countless resources in front of us. There are 75 projects on the books today around the world that are either designing or building a hydroelectric project. You know, we believe we can contribute to the solution of those trees that almost always are never cut down before the flooding. I think that today's environment is crying out for products like that, because in a world of shrinking resources, we're bringing this one back to life.
West of Lois Lake, the city of Powell River is the last major community along the Sunshine Coast. It is a traditional home to the Coast Salish peoples and a stopping point for gold prospectors in the 19th century. Powell River was incorporated a century ago, built around its pulp and paper mill, once the largest of its kind in the world. The Sunshine Coast is home to 48,000 residents, spread along one of the world's most scenic shorelines. Just inland, far from civilization, the landscape begins a magnificent ascent. This is Thartoum Lake, featuring serene, pristine waters, a signature of this region. Measuring 300 hectares, the lake is surrounded by the rising summits of the Coast Mountain Range. Beyond, Hotham Sound is a sheltered waterway, lined by rolling hills, covered in dense forest. The waters here are the deepest on the west coast, descending 732 meters. To the northeast, beyond Mount Calder, Jervis Inlet lies below. It is one of several major inlets along British Columbia's western coastline. Jervis Inlet extends 77 kilometers inland, deep into the Coast Mountain Range. The waters are lined with steep granite cliffs and soaring mountain peaks. The deep waters are used by the Canadian and American militaries for submarine and sonar testing. The inlet is divided into 3 sections, or reaches, first surveyed by the HMS Plumper in 1860. The reaches were named in honor of Queen Victoria's family: Prince of Wales Reach, Princess Royal Reach, and Queen's Reach. It is a remote waterway with no road access from the outside world. Near the northeast extremity of Jervis Inlet, one final display of natural beauty in one of the province's most remote coastal locations. This is Princess Louisa Inlet. It is located 50 kilometers from the nearest road, a haven for recreational boaters, attracted by secure anchorage, calm waters, and unbelievable surroundings. Princess Louisa Inlet is 8 kilometers long, 300 meters deep, and 800 meters wide at its widest point. Thousands of years of glaciation has carved this gorge, leaving the inlet nearly surrounded on all sides by towering cliffs. On the shoreline, a shower of pristine water marks one of the natural gems of Princess Louisa Inlet. It is James Bruce Falls, considered to be the highest measured waterfall in North America and one of the top 10 in the world. It flows 840 meters down winding rock faces. Throughout much of the year, dozens of waterfalls cascade down these cliffs to Princess Louisa Inlet below. Their secret lies in the towering peaks beyond. Massive mountains of ice, like Mount Albert, and the glacier known locally as Sun Peak, line the edges of the inlet. They stand more than 2 kilometers high, holding an unimaginable supply of water. But they measure just a fraction of the glacial ice covering the British Columbia landscape. More than 25,000 square kilometers of spectacular ice fields and icy peaks. It is truly one of the most majestic landscapes on Earth. From the towns of Gibsons and Seashelt along British Columbia's Sunshine Coast, to its serene interconnected coastal lakes, and the awe-inspiring reaches of Jervis Inlet, Princess Louisa Inlet, and beyond. British Columbia's Sunshine Coast is one of the world's great remote wonders. It is a wealth of natural resources. A safe passage for recreational boaters. And a treasure trove of unimaginable riches. Here on the edge of Canada.